like superstars. With the first-class transport provided by BAIC Motors, they arrived for an autograph session. A huge number of fans were on hand, all eager to know about a sport that is booming in China. This year at the Beijing International Triathlon, it's a truly international field, and incredible mementos were given by the superstar athletes to these new Chinese fans. A fabulous bird's eye view of the transition area where the women are getting ready to exit onto the bike.
And Routier of Spain first out of transition, and followed closely by Sarah Groff of the United States, again down this long descent from transition.
Well, Sarah Groff has some work to do as we see Routier ahead of her, but she is within striking distance and she has somebody to focus on. Now into transition, Laura Bennett.
And look at Laura here. She's coming at us from a little bit farther back. Looks like a grimace, could be a smile.
Well, the bike course is fast, it is scenic, and it is 40 kilometers long.
And it'll be interesting to see the different styles, different techniques, different bike setups on this course. Every athlete has a preference on how they decide to ride.
And the aim, of course, is to ride as fast as possible, and the road surface is just perfect for that. It starts, of course, at Qinglong Lake Park, around the main gate, and then it's out onto the wide, open, flat roads up until the 19-kilometer mark.
And on the way down, there's going to be a tricky descent through some narrow villages. A lot of these roads were actually built last year by the Chinese government. They're very fast, very smooth surfaces.
It's the part of the race when they will be reaching the highest speeds, but also feeling the most pain. Tactics and also effort are most important.
If my legs aren't absolutely suffering on the bike, I'm not going hard enough. If for a moment that I feel like I could be squeezing that pedal any harder, then I'm not doing my job.
Bennett is doing his job right now, working hard, pushing those pedals, and a big gear.
Back to our leader, Javier Gomez of Spain. Very fast turnover, very aerodynamic. A lot of these athletes will spend the off-season into wind tunnels. Well, they'll perfect their aerodynamics. Helmet, suit, bike, water bottles, every little bit that's aerodynamic helps in a race like this.
He's looking very aero and very comfortable. A different technique by Fleischmann.
Brian's sitting up a little bit on the front of his saddle, kind of grinding at the gears, a little bit different technique than Javier, for example.
And this shot gives us the perspective, the lead of Javier Gomez with the Beijing capital land pace car in front.
And look at Javier's setup. He's running a disc wheel, very aerodynamic setup. The disc wheel can be a little bit longer, but still a very fast setup.
And Gomez is quick. He's 30 years of age, a silver medalist at the 2012 London Olympics and winner of the 2013 Escape from Alcatraz Triathlon.
And back to the women's race. It looks like Sarah Groff is overtaking Routier. She is now in the lead of the race, and we know this is not her strongest leg, so she knows some of the competitors, such as Norden, are behind her. She's really, really working hard here to minimize her damage.
She'll be looking just to focus on the road ahead of her, and Groff, our defending champion.
And Sarah Groff, 31 years of age, from New Hampshire in the United States. She was 4th at the London Olympics and the winner of this race last year.
And Brian, how hard is it to go back-to-back at races?
Extremely hard, especially when the caliber of this race has been upped by athletes such as Lisa Norden and others that have come this year.
Well, the focus is certainly there and smooth. This is Bennett. She was chasing out of the water and using a disc wheel.
Yeah, a lot of these athletes will choose to use the disc wheel. We might see some other setups, but whoa, here comes Lisa Norden, as expected. Wow, the Viking is on fire.
She knew that the bike leg was going to be her most important, and she is flying. We're on board with Norden.
It's definitely going to split up the field and make a huge impact on the race. Add to that the technical downhill and the descent. You got to know how to ride a bike in this race.
Oh, I think the descent can be a little bit hairy, so probably the more aggressive you can be without killing yourself, you could probably make up some good time. But yeah, and the climbs are, those will be a little tough. So I think you can do some damage there, and then it depends on the winds for the flats. If it is a little windy, I think you could make up a bit of time there.
No wind at all today, and the climb and then the descent are ahead of these athletes. Lisa Norden looking incredibly smooth. In the men's race, this is O'Grady and Reed. They have been together throughout the swim and now throughout the entire bike, and they are pacing off each other.
These two athletes will want to work together. They're going to pace off each other, not draft, but work together to make sure they can keep Javier in sight. The race is up in front of them.
Matt Reed's a very experienced athlete. He's also very tall, able to use those long legs to push his bike as fast as he can.
And Matt Reed, he's 37 years old. He lives in Colorado right now. He was second last year, a great cyclist and an all-around great triathlete.
And of course, winner of the 2006 Escape from Alcatraz Triathlon. This is the aerial view, and they have been joined by an unwanted guest, and it's Greg Bennett.
Greg Bennett, 41 years of age. He's already made up a lot of time from the swim. Great pedal stroke from Greg, very efficient with the disc wheel as well.
Well, Greg Bennett, 41 years of age, represented Australia at the Athens Olympic Games, and he was a two-time World Series champion back in 02 and 03, the most experienced athlete in this field. This is the view from Greg Bennett's bike. He has gone past Fleischmann now, and 30 seconds down behind these athletes. Now he goes past O'Grady. He's testing this pack.
That's a great shot to see. You rarely see the race from behind. It's great to see what these athletes are doing. It looks like Ryan's panicking a little to get back onto Greg. Sometimes if they go by too quick, some of the athletes can't jump on.
Great cornering. This is that group. They are riding in legal formation. Greg Bennett's head is down.
Great form from Greg. We call that the praying mantis, where you bring your face up to your hands.
Lisa Norden continues her domination of the bike. Beautiful sweeping turn here. Great cycling skills.
Lisa is definitely one of the best, if not the best cyclist in the sport, feared by all of her competitors. Great form. Her torso is completely still.
Lisa Norden, 28 years of age, a dual Olympian, raced in Beijing, but it was her second in London in a sprint finish that everybody in the sport of triathlon will remember for a long time. And this is a dominating cycle performance here.
And probably a little more motivation for Lisa this year is she's dealing with a foot injury, and she will want to get a big lead off the bike to keep her in control.
Jenna Parker also looking very strong and very smooth on the bike, and there's a pass, and that was Jenna Parker. We'll have to see who she was going past, but she has some speed, and as we look back, that is Laura Bennett.
And you'll notice Jenna's on a different bike than the rest of the females. She's on a road bike, which not quite as aerodynamic, but might be comfortable. Wow, back to Greg. Look at his form. He is suffering out there. Like he said in the interviews, if he's not in pain, he's not working.
He is testing this field. This is the view from Greg Bennett's bike. Matt Reed now moving alongside. It looks like Greg Bennett is playing with them.
Greg's been in the sport for 25 years. He's seen every race strategy unfold. He might be waiting to make an attack later to fill out these other boys.
Well, he's moving to the back now. He's allowed Fleischmann to come past, and he will sit here and he can see all his competitors up in front of him. O'Grady now is in the lead, the New Zealander, and Greg Bennett clearly is biding his time.
Yeah, he's biding his time for an attack at some point on this course. Being in the back, he can see all of his competitors, and he's probably deciding, when am I going to make this move? My guess is it might be up the mountain somewhere.
Well, they're just starting to go onto the first part of the rise now, and you can tell slightly slower cadence there by O'Grady. He's pushing a gear. He's looking behind him. He knows that there's an attack coming. He just doesn't know exactly when that is going to happen, and there it is.
Was that a rocket ship that went by, or was that Greg Bennett?
Well, O'Grady has no answer at all. Bennett is gone. Matt Reed now realizes that if he's going to stay in this race, he has to go. And there is Fleischmann. O'Grady is left wanting more speed.
Wow, I'm still blown away by that move. Greg is gone, and these guys better go at the 20K mark.
Well, this is where the real work starts, and Greg Bennett has his head down. He's not waiting around this time.
And once you make the move as an athlete, you need to make it decisive, and you need to put the hammer down.
Back to Routier now in the women, and a great swim by Routier, and now Groff is hunting her down. She has her in her sights, and look at the focus of Groff. She wants this so badly.
She wants it so bad. She keeps dipping her head a bit. It makes me look like she's suffering a bit on the bike out there.
So Groff chasing, but so is this woman, and look at the cadence of Norden.
Compare the different styles and you can see why Lisa is one of the best cyclists in the sport.
On board with Norden, going past Lisk, who's having a good race today, but she has no answer at all. Lisa Norden is on the hunt, and there's a storm brewing, and it is this woman, the Swedish goddess of thunder, who is about to rain down on the parade of our leader, Sarah Groff, and there's the move.
Wow, there she goes, passing Sarah into the front. Sarah has got to be panicking right now because Lisa has gone to her very early in the race.
Well, she hasn't just gone past her, she has streaked out into the lead, and without barely showing any effort at all, her lead is increasing.
And back to the men's race, where for the first time, Greg gets a view of Javier Gomez, the leader. That must be exciting for him.
That's incredible riding. A minute down out of the water. He was 25 seconds behind this group and just over halfway through this bike course, and Greg Bennett is coming up to the leader. Matt Reed is still working hard, as is O'Grady, but it's got to be demoralizing when somebody rides away from you like that.
And this is where the mountain really kicks up. You'll notice some of the athletes are out of the saddle because that is, you get a little more power, but be careful because you can use up a lot of energy out of the saddle.
Well, Gomez probably doesn't know that Greg Bennett is there. This is the first time, and he looks behind him. He can't believe it.
I think he looked 3 or 4 times. I hope he didn't hurt his neck there.
Well, Greg Bennett now has the leader in his sights. It's a sharp and short descent through this section, and then the road narrows. There is no room for error.
Very technical. I don't anticipate Greg trying to pass Javier. Very dangerous. He might wait to make his move a little bit later down the mountain.
Well, there is Javier out of the saddle. A little rise here. Greg Bennett just showing that he is there, coming right up alongside him. Unbelievable riding.
It must feel so good for Greg to have made up a minute in the swim and pull back Javier just a little bit over halfway in the bike portion.
So this is where we approach the smaller village and the most dangerous part of the course. Back to the turnaround, and that is Matt Reed, O'Grady, and also Fleischmann, who is at the front of that group.
And these 3 boys need to work together because these guys are streaking down these narrow roads through this village.
There's 2,000 years of history and culture here, but no time for sightseeing for Bennett and Gomez. The lead is now out to over a minute to the chase group, and look at these two. Where will Bennett make his move?
He's got to make it soon. There's not much time left, and he knows he can't run with Javier, so maybe this is the move coming right now.
Well, he made up a minute after the swim on Gomez. Gomez will know that Greg Bennett has legs today. He's in that aero position, pushing a massive gear, and he is hunting down Javier Gomez. Look at the speeds.
I think Javier put in a little extra surge to show Greg, hey, you're not going to pass me quite yet, man.
Well, he's not the 3-time world champion for nothing, but here we go. Here is the move. Greg Bennett now takes the lead for the first time today. Head down, gritting his teeth, giving it everything he has.
He's got to go decisively by Javier and really put the hammer down now.
Well, he did that, and you can tell he's pushing a much bigger gear. There are the beautiful Kwanling Mountains, and Norden of Sweden is now up into the hilliest part of the course. This is where she can increase the lead even further.
And Norden sitting on the saddle around the turn, very calm, very focused, ready to take on the descent. She's not only a good climber, also a great descender as well.
Well, when you have a lead like this, Brian, you don't need to take any unnecessary risks.
And Lisa has been dealing with a foot injury, so she's going to want to push more on the bike to gain some more lead so she has a little bit less things to worry about on the run.
And she'll get to see some of her fellow competitors as she flies down the mountain here, and it's downhill for around about a total of 2 kilometers. You can see the warning signs there. It is very sharp and very steep through this part of the section, and there was Lisk going the other way.
And Lisa doesn't need to take any unwanted risk down the mountain. She's got a comfortable lead here.
Gomez now in unfamiliar territory in second position.
That's not what he's used to, I'll tell you that much, but he's going to try and now keep Greg in sight because, again, he knows he can run a sub-30 10K, so he's just got to keep Greg right in front of him there.
Greg Bennett, the power is on the pedals. He's pushing hard. They're approaching the second transition.
And if you notice, Greg's already got his feet out of his shoes, ready to go up the hill, back into transition. Smart move by the veteran.
As we see some of our age groupers head out onto the course, this is a very short but very steep hill, but Greg Bennett, one of the best in transition.
I expect a fast transition. You'll notice Javier is still in his shoes. He might not have realized the transition was coming up so quickly.
Climbs up the hill, helmet is off, the shoes are on elastic laces to make it easier. Very fast transition. Greg Bennett leads the Beijing International Triathlon for 2013, leaving Gomez in a chasing situation.
And Javier doesn't seem too concerned about it. He's taking his time. He knows he can run very, very fast. In his heyday, Greg could run with Javier, but older than Javier, I'm not sure that can happen today.
Javier Gomez definitely at least 10 seconds slower in transition. He is now out onto the 10-kilometre run course, looking stiff. Remember, this is a non-drafting cycle format, so much harder on the athlete's legs. Now, Norden on the race for home. She has continued to push the pedal as fast as she can. Fleischmann, great ride by Brian Fleischmann into transition in third. O'Grady right behind him, and Matt Reed looking a little stiff there.
Ouch. Matt looked like he pushed it on the bike real hard. Hopefully these guys can work together and maybe gain some time on the leaders, but I would say this is a race for third in my opinion.
Fleischmann dancing out of transition. Very quick changeover for him. And there we see Matt Reed. He knows this course very well, and he will be looking and chasing, trying to make sure he does at least as well as last year, which was second.
Matt and Brian have an advantage over O'Grady since they did the race last year. They'll know the course.
Well, Norden now getting ready for the transition. Feet are out of the shoes, up the steep hill. She's got a big lead.
And here we are with the men bike splits time. Greg Bennett with a sizzling 56.09. By the way, that is 2 minutes faster than last year's fastest bike split. Course record on the bike for Greg. Javier close behind. It's going to be a race for first between these two guys.
And in the women, Lisa Norden, 5 minutes faster than defending champion Sarah Groff. An incredible performance on the bike course. This is the 2013 Beijing International Triathlon. These are the magnificent sights of Feng Tai, a vibrant district on the southwestern fringe of Beijing. It's a place rich with history that sweeps back to the Liao dynasty. One of its modern-day centerpieces is Qinglong Lake Park, a beautiful venue for both the swimming and running legs of the Beijing International Triathlon. And Greg Bennett is leading right now, but Gomez has him in sight.
Javier Gomez is known as a strength athlete, meaning he'll probably build into this run. Greg is trying to get a gap here. He's not sure he can hang on for much longer.